Okay, back into it. So, another quote, how few there are who have courage enough to own their faults or resolution enough to mend them. Again, another one I really resonate well with. Courage enough to own their faults is one thing in itself, but then resolution enough to mend them it's like two separate things that you have to recognize that can create the one dynamic to move into healing and health, personal healing and health. So each of the 20 Guardian Support Act combinations will be defined, the strengths and weaknesses are identified, and then an APC. So the first group we're going to do is wood. So this is your wood guardian or primary with the support. I'm going to go through wood, fire, wood, earth, wood, metal, wood, water. So wood, fire. Now just in the chat, where's my pen? Just in the chat, if you think you are wood, fire, can you put yes or put wood, fire in the chat now, please? Wood, fire. Three, 1, 2, 3. So at this stage, we've got maybe 3 people, possibly a few more once we've looked at them. So let's look at what this one is. And again, if it's not you, this might be a patient, it might be a friend, family member, someone close to you. So each of these combinations is really helpful for you to know anyway, just in terms of your day-to-day understanding. And the fact that I don't know anyone that's ever done this before. Now, surely there have been plenty of people that have, but putting the two together, explaining what they are, giving a treatment for it, I just, as I said, personally have not seen it. Sorry, I'm just moving around a little bit because my knee is really throbbing with it being below my heart, sitting, but we'll move on. So, wood fire is referred to as the adventurer magician. They are double yang. So basically they'll struggle to ever shut down, preferring to stay active and on the go. They run until they collapse, set to repeat. So they go, 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 go. Then they just fall into a giant heap. Takes a few days for them to get over it, and then they're back into it again. And they just go, 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 go again until they collapse again. Unless they know what's happening or they know themselves well enough to intentionally add in the stopping slots. We are intentionally stopping now. And that's what they do. They intentionally put that break in. This is my brother. It's exhausting to be around him at times because he's just so on all the time. There's no off switch. They have to be out in the world, be front and center in every activity. They are the second most extroverted and loudest of all the archetypes. The only one kind of more extroverted than them is fire wood, which is just basically this one with the Guardian and Support Act swung around. Would you notice much difference between a wood fire and a fire wood in terms of their extroverted nature? It would be very hard to really tell much of a difference. The difference, though, is in these other bits. It's all about them. They sell themselves, their achievements, and to a lesser extent, they sell the things they're passionate about. So the wood part of it is the selling their achievements, which are amazing. And then they sell the things they're passionate about, which is their Support Act fire. And their name will be on everything they sell. Their strengths, getting stuff done fast, effectively out in the world. So what I call the noise and bluster. They like being out in that. It feels good to be out in that. Full of energy. So full of energy that it could be considered a weakness if they don't learn how to switch off. Very creative, dynamic, committed, enthusiastic, lively, and focused. Don't try and stop these people when they're going at something. They have a glass half full attitude. So the eternal optimist. But what about some weaknesses? They can come across as too full on, too in your face, too much in your personal space. they can struggle to give other people space or room to even breathe. They might drain others' energy without meaning to. Because they're double yang, they've got to grab energy from places. Now, universal chi is unlimited, so grab it from there. But sometimes they might inadvertently grab it from other people, and it sucks those people's energy, makes them feel quite tired and drained. They can have problems with conflicting needs, desires, and attractions. Again, they want that focus of the thing they're going at, and that's their whole world. They achieve that thing, bit of rest and recover, bit of whatever, and then they find their next thing. They don't want lots of things, lots of attractions, lots of desires. So here's the first point combination, acupuncture point combination, point prescription, whatever you want to call it. For those that have done no workshops with me before, you'll see that it's built in a table and the structure is the same pretty much across all of the tables, give or take some points not being in certain locations. But you'll see on the left, the location of the point will be either the head, face, or neck. Then there might be a point on the trunk on the front, with a point on the back of the trunk, something on the arms or hands, something on the legs or feet. Apologies for the repetition for some of you. It is about sensible scattering of needles. You want to have points that are working together as a team, a holistic team, so that the combination is working together rather than all these individual little bits and pieces doing their own personal things. We want them working together as a group. And for me, I also am very big on not having all the needles stacked in one spot, because there's stagnations and deficiencies and excesses in the body that we can't possibly comprehend or understand. We can know where some of that stuff is, but we can't know where all of it is. And so for me, having sensible scattering of needles means that the chi is being stimulated in lots of different places in the body, thereby creating a zing between each of the points, rather than them all being in this little space. They all zing in between one another, and then there's stagnations here or deficiencies here. Zing, 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 zing. They go out into here and they go poof, 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 or they come out and they go, oh, it's deficiency, I'm running out of energy. Blech. You want them to be in lots of places where they have the ability to constantly charge up the energy, like lots of little gas stations or petrol stations where you can fill up your car so that it never runs out of gas, because you know there's always another one just around the corner that's reliable and consistent. That's what I like doing with my points. So this particular combination has points in all of those main areas. So we've got a point high up on the body, gallbladder 20 at the back of the neck, and it clears excess out of the head. They're double yang, so much energy coming up. So it helps to settle that down, settle the shen, settle the hun, not take energy away from it, just settle it down to thereby create more harmony and potentially more focus-driven more focus-driven. People say, don't take away my noise, I need my noise, but the noise can be interruptive, it can interrupt things. So if you settle that down, it can make the person much more mentally alert so they can target things better. We've got a fire kidney spirit gate point and a wood kidney spirit gate point because they're wood fire, so that makes sense. And they are consistent across all of the APCs. I've chosen a back shoe point for all APCs as well. I've chosen a back shoe point for the guardian archetype, and I've typically chosen the yin organs, sometimes the yang organs. Yin organs are often considered to be more effective in back shoe front move points. Whether you believe that or not, that's kind of what's typically taught. And the liver organ, as I said, is a wood element organ, so it will get in and help the wood archetype, it'll help the hun, etc. I've chosen the yuan source point for the heart and the liver. I'm not always doing that for each of the APCs. Yuan source point for heart because the heart is fire. Yuan source point for liver because liver is wood. And then I've done this host-guest point combination, which is where the yuan source point is used for the host of the disease, and the law connecting point is used as the guest to support the host. So yin-yang organ pairings work really well as a host-guest point combination, which is what makes this point combination special. So in this instance, I've got both the yin and yang organs being used for the guardian archetype, that wood archetype. So it's the primary one we want to focus on because it's their primary or guardian archetype. And then we want to support with less points their support act, which is the fire. So you'll see the yuan source point for yin and law connecting point for the yang partner in all of the APCs as well. All up, it's 14 needles bilaterally. Again, if you do unilateral, then that would reduce the number of needles you're using there. If you use less needles in general, take some away. What are you going to take away? Why are you taking it away? Think about your processing. If you're going to add more in, what are you adding in? Is that going to help? Adding more points to the combination, how is that going to best benefit the overall treatment?